So I've had quite a few people asking me to do some videos on the Triumph Daytona, and I've probably said in previous videos that it is really difficult. I work quite fast and it's really difficult. I'd like to be able to film it and do the work at the same time, which would probably mean having a cameraman, so that's out of the question. So I've use the clutch, you pig. So I've done a little video today of where we are so far, which is getting better and better each week. So I hope to have the Daytona running in the next, probably in the next week. Get out into the workshop for a couple of nights, probably have quite a bit done. So I shall hand you over to the gentleman in the workshop now. I shall walk you through what we've done so far. So we've had loads of bits powder coated on the front yokes, handlebars, new fork legs because the old fork legs were rusty. So we've put new fork legs in, all new internals, new seals. The calipers were quite badly corroded, so managed to get a set of new calipers, which weren't actually that expensive. New brake lines throughout. Moving to the engine, powder coated outer covers as the paint had all peeled off. Powder coated top cover. New air filter box as the old air filter box had cracked, and then rebuilt the carburetors, replaced the plastic diaphragm tops with aluminium tops. They've got all new seals and been cleaned out. And then moving back, obviously these bits have been repowder coated, all the footrest hangers, new footrest rubbers and springs, rebuilt a new pistons for the rear caliper, new hoses, rebuilt master cylinder, powder coated the wheels, new tyres, Bridgestone battle axes. Discs were okay because don't forget the bike's only covered 6,000 miles from new. Kept the original chain because there's no wear in it at all. Sprocket's original, no wear in that. And then over to this side, rebuilt the clutch slave cylinder, just all new fixings. I've used stainless Allen bolts as against the bolts with the 8mm heads on. So these have all been repowder coated. Exhausts I've repainted black. They have a sort of black chrome on them, where they're not, I don't know if it's chrome, but it's a black coating, and they're stainless with this black coating, which is really hard to replicate. So I've painted those. They're under the fairing, so, and in the belly pan, so that's not really going to be a big problem. New, well, second-hand fairing frame, powder coated, as right at the end of stripping it down, we had it hooked, the frame was hooked on the truss of the shed, and suddenly the bike flipped off the stand without the engine in it. Thankfully, it's just literally the frame and the front forks. It twisted over, it flipped over here, and the Adventurer was sitting here at the time, and it missed the Adventurer by about an inch, which was so lucky, and it was a bit unexpected, but there we go, we got away with it. But that was a lesson learned. Normally I strap them down a bit better than that, but it was so near the end that I just thought, well, that's going to be fine, and it wasn't. So there we are, new caliper there again. So it's new calipers, front wheel painted, original discs. I was going to put new discs on, but only because there is a little bit of corrosion, and these, I think these are anodised, but some of this might polish off. I have spent a lot of time cleaning them, but I don't want to damage them. You can't get the genuine discs anymore. You can get reproduction ones, but these are absolutely perfect because of the mileage, so it's not worth changing them, so just going to have to live with that. So that's it. So I should think by the end of next week it possibly could be running. All there is to do now before it fires up is fit the radiator, which is quite easy to do, and then just put all the clocks and switchgear back on. And then the only other issue is I've just got to clean and replace the seals in the two master cylinders. To be honest, the paintwork's actually okay. I thought I was going to have to repaint these. I can't remember what they look like, but I think they will clean up. I've got new levers because these have gone rusty, so we may get away with just new pistons and seals and then the new levers, which would be nice, because it's nice to keep as much of the stuff original as possible, just because the finish is better and all the paint you can buy just doesn't stay on that well. So there we have it. So it will be in really nice condition. It is in lovely condition. All the rear shock absorber linkage and everything, when I stripped that down, it was like brand new inside. There's no marks at all. The only thing I've done is I've replaced the rear shock absorber. The original one was in a really poor state, and it had been so hard to have actually restored it into good order and made it look anything, so I decided to stick a new shock on that. I may, although it's quite a faff, I may swap out this shock and put it in the CAF Racer, and then the CAF Racer shock I could use on this. Having said that, I think there is a slight difference in loading and whatever. I'm sure the part numbers are very slightly different on the shocks, but I'll look into that. But I may just keep it as it is, it may be easier. So there we have it, a nearly finished Daytona 900. Back to the idiot on the bike.
So as you can see, the bike has come on a fair bit since the last time. You probably saw it on here, which is good, because I always have more enthusiasm when I've bought the bike. I strip it down and then you're just left with a load of bits, and you're looking at it all just going, oh my god, how depressing is that? It's all got to go back together. And it seems at the time when you're, oh, what are you doing, you dick? At the time when you're about to put it all back together, it just seems like it's going to take forever, and that I really lose interest then. But once you start getting a bike together, which has really only taken probably a couple of weeks, and to be honest, I've only gone out there probably 2 evenings a week for the last couple of weeks since we got the engine bolted into the frame. It doesn't take long once you get going, but I get this mental block, and then once I get going I'm fine. And I've found as I've got older, I'm very keen at the start, but not so keen halfway through, when you get to the low point of the project. But we're getting very close now, so everything's sunshine and roses. And I think what we will do is we'll definitely get the video on the stand when we get the old girl started again. It should start fairly well. I mean, it was only running not even 6 months, what, 4 months ago, October. It was running in October, so it should run, although I have been in the carburetors, so who knows what could happen. But no, it should all run, it should start, it should be all good. So I shall film that, and that will be the end of that project nearly. And then what to do next, if anything. I do quite fancy restoring a Honda SS50. That was my first moped when I was 16. But they're so expensive now, even restoration projects are expensive. I mean, the cost of an SS50 as a resto project, which will be in a scruffy state, will cost probably somewhere between 1,500, 2,000. I've seen them up for 2,500 in a scruffy state, but running. That Daytona I brought was £2,000, and I reckon I've probably spent about 2,000 on it, so it stands me in around £4,000, which it's probably worth, being that it's only done 6,000 miles, somewhere between 3,500 and 4,000. But I haven't really had to do a lot on that, compared with if you buy a scruffy SS50 for £1,500 to £2,000. So realistically, it's not worth it when you think you can buy a bike. And that Daytona was MOT'd and it was roadworthy, it was just a bit scruffy. A bike that'd do 145, 150 miles an hour, or a bike that you'd be lucky to do 50 miles an hour, or more like 40. So we shall see on that one, but I will keep you updated. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.